The digital divide is more about people that have access to computers and internet related technologies as opposed to the people that don't.
You know, contracts are probably the greatest problem that seniors find. They're difficult to understand. There is so much small print.
You can't make contact with these people because they're in buildings up above our level, and you can't just get access to the buildings, you have to phone them.
Remote communities are invariably communications poor. There are no banks in remote communities, there are no post offices, there aren't shopping centres. There's not all of these things that we take for granted in the cities or towns.
If you think about a lot of services like banking, telecommunications, other industries are all really going more high-tech and basing themselves entirely on internet. And there could be for banking systems now, it's coming to actually see someone is going to cost you money. Not having any access to communications like things like a landline or an internet service provider or even a mobile phone has a really big effect on people who are homeless. So often a mobile can be the only form of communication that people have with their family, and if you're on the street that can be a real lifeline.
The thing I miss the most is having that contact once a week or a couple of times a week with my older brother. We were able to use the chat program and send photos of my new cousins and my new nephews and nieces and stuff. Not having that contact now, I miss it quite a bit, so I'm endeavouring to get that all squared away, but it's not an easy task.
If a senior can't have some connection to family and friends, they tend to feel very isolated, and that's not a nice feeling. Communication is vitally important to everybody.
Social media is one of the really important innovations recently, as well as being really beneficial to the mainstream population. What social media offers people is the opportunity to overcome really profound disability issues such as mobility. So the fact that you can have things like social media where you can all meet online, it's easy to keep track of people, you can have communication through things like Skype for free, it just opens up a whole new world.
Invariably, the services that are put in are controlled by non-Indigenous people, and it relies on their goodwill to basically provide access to Indigenous people to use them.
Because computers and the internet are such visual in nature, because they do depend so much on the ability to easily interact with the interface, people with disabilities can find that particularly challenging. There's about 4 million Australians with some form of permanent disability, about 20%. So we're talking about quite a lot of people, and this is one of the things that's a bit surprising why web accessibility is such a big issue, because ultimately when people put things on the web, put things on the internet, they really want the population to experience their hard work or maybe their product. And to think that 1 in 5 Australians may be disadvantaged in getting access to that's a lot of people.
We really need to do a lot more about helping seniors to get online. There's only about 25% at the moment who are actually online, and so we need to make it easier for them. And one of the things that restricts a senior from being involved online is a lack of knowledge about it, a fear. So there needs to be good information out there that enables seniors to understand what the implications of being on the internet are, what the advantages are, and the things that they need to be aware of.
Broadband and internet access, I think that's critical to be able to continue to learn beyond schooling, to have access to internet banking, to have access to the same sort of communication tools that all other Australians have.
Just the day-to-day of things that we take for granted, like things like internet banking, or for someone who's homeless dealing with housing or dealing with Centrelink.
There is a high uptake, but the cost is prohibitive. It becomes a major expense for people on very low income.
I think telecommunications providers and banking institutions need to also provide their end of the bargain by making sure that these devices can be used by people with disabilities.
Taking those little things for granted, they are a big thing in the homeless sector. The contact, it's a very important thing.
So communication is just a lifeline.